As India and Pakistan veer on the edge of a military strike, India and the United Kingdom, they seem to be doing really well. Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program this evening, a historic breakthrough between the United Kingdom and India, with Prime Ministers Modi and Starmer hailing the India-UK Free Trade Agreement and Double Contribution Convention, which was finalized today. It's a landmark deal boosting £41 billion in trade. It'll enhance economic ties, create jobs and foster innovation. What's it all about? We'll be looking at that. Up on the top, we've got tension with Pakistan. Pakistan has been warned that its economy would be in a further mess if they choose to escalate India signing a landmark economic deal. Next up on the show, India has issued a notice for a NOTAM, or a notice for airmen for a large-scale Indian Air Force exercise. In fact, this is quite interesting because this is the area in Rajasthan, right near the international border, where the exercise is going to start. It's going to be starting at 9 p.m. tomorrow. It ends on the 9th. By the time, this is in UTC time, so early in the morning of the 9th is when it should be ending. But just look at it, at a time of high tension between India and Pakistan, this entire area of Rajasthan is where India will be holding these exercises. India says that, look, these were pre-planned exercises, but I think given the state of tensions between India and Pakistan at this juncture over this large area in Rajasthan, it just goes to show that, there is perhaps cause for alert. I won't use the word concern, but certainly remain alert as things become more and more tense. But this is for the exercises of the Indian Air Force. Concurrently, as we've been mentioning, India has been conducting civil defense drills to prepare for potential hostilities. We'll be joined by former Army Chief General VP Malik, senior diplomats and others to look at this period, what has been referred to as a potential lull before a storm. And finally, later on the program, in a historic move, the Supreme Court has for the first time publicly disclosed the assets and details of 21 of its 33 sitting judges, including Chief Justice Sanjeev Khanna, who's declared a fixed deposit of 55 lakhs, prompted by a controversy over alleged burnt cash found at a Delhi High Court judge's residence. The court's resolution mandates public disclosure, ending voluntary practices. This transparency push includes details of judicial appointments and aims to restore public confidence in India's judiciary. We'll come to that in a moment. But first, let's take a look at this historic India-UK trade agreement that's set to redefine the equation between both countries. The Prime Minister announced this on Twitter. The United Kingdom has also announced that, it is a very big step. So here are 6 key points on why this is a significant deal. Now, the Free Trade Agreement and the Double Contribution Convention mark a historic milestone in the India-UK Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. It strengthens the foundation for long-term collaboration. Now, the agreements will significantly boost bilateral trade and investment between two of the world's largest open market economies, creating new business opportunities. By promoting trade in goods and services, the Free Trade Agreement is expected to spur innovation and generate new employment opportunities in both India and the United Kingdom. The agreements deepen people-to-people connects through increased mobility. It fosters stronger cultural and economic bonds between the United Kingdom and India. The Free Trade Agreement enables India and the UK to collaborate on developing products and services for global markets, enhancing their joint competitiveness on the world stage. The balanced and ambitious Free Trade Agreement aims to raise the living standards and improve the overall well-being of people in both countries by reducing trade barriers and strengthening economic security. This aligns with the UK's plan for change and India's growth ambitions. All right, so that's a huge development taking place today. Let's quickly move on now to a very special guest who joins us, Richard Hill, the UK IBC Chair. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us. In simple terms, what are some of the areas or some of the sectors where India and the United Kingdom stand to benefit?
Well, thank you very much, Vishu, for having me today. Yes, you're absolutely right. This is a really important event that we're hearing about today. The key areas that I think benefit both India and UK have been set out in a number of agreements that have come out between UK and India. And we're looking at areas like healthcare, like technology, like pharmaceuticals, areas maybe that aren't quite within the FTA, such as defense and aerospace, areas like cybersecurity, etc., that are governed by the TSI, the Technology Security Initiative that was signed last year. All of this is part and parcel of a general thrust to actually break down barriers between UK and India in order to encourage trade, as you rightly say, and to benefit both economies.
Now, you've interacted with our Minister Piyush Goyal quite extensively. Now, give us the inside story. Was it difficult to to pass this? Did you get stuck at certain stages?
Well, I've interacted with Minister Goyal, absolutely. I thankfully haven't sat round the table, but I've been giving inputs into both the UK side and into the Indian side as to what business is looking for. And I have to say that I think both principals, that's Secretary of State Johnny Reynolds in the UK and Minister Goyal in India, have approached this pragmatically, but actually very much focused on what is the best outcome for both parties. Last week, as we know, Piyush Goyal was in London. I have to say that he was extremely upbeat, very positive, very focused on getting an outcome. And the mood music between both individuals, both principals, was extremely strong. Now, on Tuesday, we were all expecting an announcement. It didn't come, but the commitment was there such that Minister Goyal came back from Oslo towards the end of the week, spent time in the UK at the weekend in order to try and get this deal over the line. And I think it's that sort of effort and focus that has really made this happen.
I think this might come as a welcome cheer for countless people in this country. Scotch whisky tariffs have been a sticky point for the deal. I believe that's been sorted out as well. India is the largest, as I understand it, whisky consumer in the world. So this is a win-win for beverage manufacturers in the United Kingdom looking to sell their product in India. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. But at the same time, I think there's slightly more than just whiskey coming in from Scotland into India. I think there is also an element of technology transfer, which actually benefits the growth of the domestic business within India in terms of technology around process, in terms of packaging, etc. And you should also remember that a large amount of domestic Indian whiskey has an element of Scotch within it. So I think that it benefits both sides, technology as well as trade.
All right. And another key point, this is just the first step. Over a period of time, does the agreement mean that tariffs on certain items will progressively come down even more?
Yes, that appears to be what is happening. We are seeing a number of tariffs that I think 90% of tariffs are being addressed, and that we expect to see a reduction gradually over time. That's Scotch whisky, but it's also a whole range of other areas. And of course, there are certain elements which are being removed entirely, and India is a beneficiary in that process as well.
One more question, just in terms of the size of the deal, and I think this is important to state. It aims to increase bilateral trade by a further £25.5 billion by 2040, right? So in terms of free trade agreements that the United Kingdom has with other countries, how significant is this one?
Well, this is hugely significant, and I think it's significant for both India and the UK, because essentially any trade agreement between the fifth and the sixth largest economies in the world is going to be massively complicated. And I think here we have to give credit both to Minister Goyal and to our Secretary of State, as well as to the negotiating teams, to have negotiated through some 26 chapters, varied chapters, which are really quite complicated. So to move this and to achieve it within 3 years is quite remarkable.
It is indeed, sir. Thank you very much for being with us. I'm also joined by Rahul Ahluwalia, Founder Director of the Foundation for Economic Development. Mr. Ahluwalia, thanks very much for being with us. It's been a stop-start process, hasn't it, for 3 odd years. It's now finally come through. How significant is it for India and the United Kingdom?
I think it's incredibly significant. I think it's not just the size of the deal that's significant, but it's the fact that after a long time, we are showing real momentum in signing free trade agreements. I think India was always a reluctant free trader. And I think this is finally changing. We had Australia show up. You could still dismiss that as a flash in the pan. But having signed this with UK, I think the government is showing real intent for moving ahead on these things. And given the current trade scenario in the world, it's incredibly significant. So I think it's a very good move.
India's in the middle of trade talks with the United States, that's separately, and we don't really know where that's going to go. This has come through. I don't know if you can draw some sort of an equivalence, but the basic question would be, in the absence of that trade deal, that's still going to take some time, does this assume more importance?
Absolutely. I think it both from the side of India and from the side of other trading partners. I think the US is a special case right now because nobody really knows what's going on there, right? So I think several trade negotiations have happened in the US. Other countries have gone in, backed off. So it's very uncertain. But I think the UK, EU, these are trade negotiations that have been going on for a while. I think these governments are relatively more predictable. The question always was about India and whether we would be able to show the appetite for signing these trade deals. And I think with this one, we definitely have. The UK is a very large trading partner. It's a very large economy. And to have done a reasonably comprehensive deal with them, I think shows real intent. So very, very important. We should see substantial benefits to several sectors in the Indian economy from this.
All right, Rahul, thanks very much for being with us.